I first became aware of the audio MusiKraft Denon DL-103 cartridge system in the recommended component section of the April 2022 edition of Stereophile magazine. It caught my attention because the late great Art Dudley reviewed it twice, once in 2017, where he gave the lithium aluminum version a Class B rating, and in 2019, when he upgraded his rating to Class A after listening to the bronze version. The Denon DL-103 moving coil cartridge has been in production since 1962. It has garnered many positive reviews over the past 60 years. The Absolute Sound magazine did a comprehensive retrospective in their July-August 2022 edition. The Denon DL-103, which currently sells for $349 US, has spawned a lucrative market for third parties who take the stock version and enhance its performance by encasing it in metallic enclosures. Zoo Audio offers their Zoo DL-103 Mark II cartridge for between $600 and $1,300 depending on quality. It earns a Stereophile Class B rating. The Denon 103 aluminum body cap is an aluminum case that wraps around the existing plastic body and sells for $68. Paul Sador of the Absolute Sound found it was a worthwhile upgrade. Audio MusiKraft bills itself as the home of the world's first tunable Phono cartridge. It offers cases in aluminum, lithium, magnesium, and bronze. There are slots along the top and sides that fit inserts made from a variety of wood species, each with different color, grain, and density. They offer fully assembled units, complete kits, as well as parts. I have been using a HANA EL moving coil cartridge for several years, initially with a vintage Ariston turntable and then a VPI Classic 3 turntable with the JMW Memorial 10.5-inch unipivot tone arm. I did extensive listening comparisons over several months of both cartridges using the VPI and a vintage dual CS503-1 turntable. With my ears and my system, music sounded about the same, regardless of which cartridge or turntable I used. After a few weeks of break-in, the imaging on the Denon seemed more precise. The HANA EL uses an elliptical-shaped stylus, while the Denon uses a conical stylus. Over the years, audio experts have debated the merits of different stylus profiles. Many claim narrower profiles make better contact with the groove walls, allowing them to dig out more musical detail. Experts point to the narrow profile styli as tracking more closely to the cutting head used to create the master template, but they fail to mention that the cutter head moves across the record linearly, while a single pivot tone arm travels in an arc. This means the stylus will touch the two sides of the groove perfectly at only one point on the record. At other times, the left edge of the stylus will touch the groove slightly ahead of or behind the right edge of the stylus, so there is potentially a slight phase difference. A conical stylus doesn't appear to have this problem. Hi-Fi magazines recommend phono cartridges with various stylus profiles, so other factors must come into play in a cartridge's ability to reproduce music from records. I found the 300 ohm loading is ideal for both the HANA EL and the Denon DL-103. I use a step-up transformer to boost the signal from moving coil cartridges in order to use the moving magnet input of my phono stage. The lightweight HANA cartridge required a 3-gram headshell weight in order to balance properly on the VPI tone arm. No additional weight was required to mount the Denon. Additional weight was not required to mount the HANA to the dual tone arm. The low compliance Denon works best with higher mass tone arms. The medium compliance Hana can work with lower mass tone arms. Both cartridges worked fine with the short 8-inch dual tone arm. I purchased a MusiKraft aluminum case, 3 sets of wood inserts, Ipe wood, torrefied pine, and maple, a vial of finishing oil, and a pair of screws of the correct length to mount the MusiKraft to my tone arm headshell. After watching the MusiKraft YouTube video on how to remove the plastic body from the DL-103 motor section, I was a bit leery about undertaking this operation without a first aid kit nearby. If you don't have good eyesight and hand-eye coordination, then let the experts at MusiKraft do this for you. As it turned out, after scoring the 4 edges of the body with a sharp utility knife, the plastic body separated on its own. Only one corner seems to have been glued. Sliding the motor top plate onto the MusiKraft body and screwing the aluminum top plate onto the enclosure was easy, but be mindful of the exposed cantilever. The MusiKraft enclosure has 3 tiny tuning screws that can be tightened against the DL-103 body with a very small diameter hex key included in the kit. These enclosures are manufactured with extreme precision. I mounted the MusiKraft onto the tone arm headshell using the 2 screws that I ordered. They fit perfectly. The MusiKraft DL-103 requires a complete readjustment of tone arm parameters. I used the VPI alignment jig to perform the overhang adjustment. It is optimized to track the inner third of the record with the lowest distortion. I used the Nasotech tool to adjust azimuth and VTA. The whole process took about 20 minutes. To change wood inserts requires removing the cartridge from the tone arm, removing the top plate, and removing the DL-103 motor section. Once the Denon DL-103 has been transformed into a MusiKraft DL-103, it is impossible to perform A/B listening tests. Going by memory, I would say the sonic improvement was in greater dynamics and clearer articulation. If you thought the Denon offered a lively sound, the MusiKraft multiplies the effect. The adjective alive comes to mind, as in, it makes recorded music sound alive. To perform quantitative tests, I use the Hi-Fi News Analog Test LP. Since this conversion is about reducing unwanted resonance and vibrations from being picked up by the stylus and corrupting the musical signal, I wanted to check the vertical and lateral resonances of the cartridge and tone arm assembly. It is also able to check residual noise of the stylus on a silent groove, frequency response, and tracking ability. Running the Hi-Fi News lateral and vertical resonance tests on the VPI with the MusiKraft DL-103 and Ipe wood inserts, the lateral resonance was within the desired 8 to 15 Hz range, but the vertical resonance was in the 16 to 20 Hz range. Playing the test record frequency sweep track detected a peak between 8 to 11 kHz, with a maximum at around 9 kHz. Clearly some undesirable resonance was being detected. I applied some finishing oil on the 2 side wood inserts to see if that would make a difference. Rerunning the resonance tests showed both lateral and vertical resonances now occurred within the desired 8 to 15 Hz range.
Low frequency resonance test, lateral, 25 Hz. 15 Hz. 13 Hz. 11 Hz. 9 Hz. 7 Hz. 8 5 Hz. Low frequency resonance test, vertical. 20 Hz. 18 Hz. 16 Hz. 14 Hz. 12 Hz. 10 Hz. 8 Hz. 6 Hz.
5. Rerunning the frequency sweep did not show the high frequency peak that was there before. It seems the oil treatment was effective in eliminating these unwanted effects. Keep in mind the downstream components like amplifiers, speakers, and the listening room contribute to the shape of the frequency response shown on these spectrum profiles. The spectrum profile captured by my smartphone app shows a residual noise level of between -90 to -110 dB. By comparison, the residual noise level of my Bluesound Node 2i streamer DAC with Tidal Connect was a bit lower. The Hi-Fi News test record includes 3 tracks to test a Phono cartridge's ability to track a loud tone at the outer, middle, and inner portions of the record. The MusiKraft was able to play all tracks without distortion. The HANA EL was not able to play these tracks without distortion on the dual turntable. That's when I decided to try a tweak. On one of my earlier videos, I used a tacky substance called moon gel to clean the stylus of dust and debris. These gel pads are used by drummers to control the resonance of drums. After applying a 1/2 inch by 1 inch strip of moon gel to the top of the dual head shell, the distortion disappeared. This tweak also brought down the vertical resonance to between 8 and 11 Hz from the previous 16 to 18 Hz range. The lateral resonance stayed in the 8 to 15 Hz range. 2 problems fixed with a little gel pad. In conclusion, the MusiKraft modification to the stock Denon DL-103 did impart a meaningful sonic improvement. It also means there is an incremental improvement over my HANA EL Phono cartridge. Whether this vaults my MusiKraft into Stereophile's Class A category is anyone's guess. What Art Dudley heard on his record playback system is, I'm sure, quite different than what I am hearing through my system and what you will hear through your system. The MusiKraft system is going to give me years of enjoyment and enable me to try different tuning options. Total expenditure for the MusiKraft enclosure plus Denon cartridge was around $1,000 Canadian. The very best phono cartridges in the marketplace today cost between 4 to 10 times this amount. I hope this video has provided some useful information as you strive to improve your record playback system and enhance your music listening experience. Happy listening!